If you're already running Scrum ceremonies or you're a new or aspiring Scrum Master about to step into the role, if you feel constant pressure from unclear work, overstuffed sprints, silent blockers, frustrated stakeholders, and confusing metrics, then this Agilivance Scrum Master Instructor-Led Training Masterclass walks you through a mini sprint from a Scrum Master's point of view step by step. By the end of this masterclass, you'll understand how a Scrum Master can guide one full sprint loop from facilitation of backlog refinement to lead an effective sprint planning, to start and manage the sprint, execute meaningful daily scrums focused on the board and blockers, and close the sprint with an effective demo, practical retrospective. You'll see how to spot and fix broken Agile patterns and how your team's sprint connects into a wider scaled Agile view with program increments and dependencies. We start before the sprint, in backlog refinement. As a Scrum Master, your first job is to make sure the top of the backlog is actually ready for planning. You confirm that upcoming items have been discussed with the team, the requirement is clear enough to explain, basic acceptance criteria are captured, and estimates are added. In Jira or Azure DevOps, you help the team tag which items meet your definition of ready and which still need clarification, so everyone knows what can safely move into sprint planning. Next, we move into sprint planning and look at it as a Scrum Master. You start with capacity, who is on leave, how much time is blocked for support and meetings, and what realistic delivery capacity the team has. You remind the team to use past velocity as a guide, not a target, and support the product owner in choosing a focused sprint goal. Together with the team, you check that every item pulled in meets DOR, that definition of done is clear for the sprint, and that the sprint is fairly loaded instead of overloaded. Then, in Jira or Azure DevOps, you set up the sprint, pull in the selected items, and start the sprint in the system so the team has a clean, visible sprint backlog and board to work from. Once the sprint starts, your attention moves to Daily Scrum and Flow. Instead of collecting status, you keep the conversation anchored on the board. You encourage the team to talk through work from closest to done back to not started what is blocked, what has been sitting in progress too long, and where the team can swarm. You use the tool's board view and simple visuals like work item aging or basic WIP expectations as prompts. Toward the end of the sprint, you guide the team into review and demo. You help them plan a short, focused demo. DoD met items that connects back to the sprint goal instead of jumping randomly through tickets. You make sure stakeholder feedback is captured as new backlog items or clear follow-ups so it becomes part of the next refinement instead of disappearing. During the review session, you use Jira or Azure DevOps metrics and filters to show what was actually completed this sprint. You help the team look at sprint metrics in a steady, clear way. You walk through velocity as a trend, burndown as a picture of how work moved, work item aging to spot where things got stuck, and completion rate to see if you planned fairly or tried to do too much. You might export a simple view to Excel or use a built-in dashboard, but always with one goal: help the team learn how they really worked this sprint, not judge individuals. Used this way, metrics become a practical tool for continuous improvement. As a Scrum Master, you also work in the background to spot broken Agile patterns and plan how to fix them. Constant carryover, overloaded WIP columns, silent retros, or velocity being used as a target are all signals you watch through the boards and metrics. In our Agilivance Scrum Master Instructor-Led Training course, you will learn how you can use these signals to start working with the team so you actively prevent and fix broken Agile instead of just reporting it. We also connect this sprint-level work to a scaled Agile view. When several teams are struggling with interdependencies and shared priorities, organizations often move to a scaled Agile model so teams can plan and execute together. As a Scrum Master, you help your team prepare for and participate in PI program increment planning meetings, bringing your team's capacity and backlog, mapping dependencies on a program board, capturing and ROAM risks and follow-up actions, and supporting your team during execution across the program increment. This gives you a bigger picture view of how your team's sprint fits into a wider product or program. Join our Agilivance Scrum Master Instructor-Led Learning course, Get Live, instructor-led learning. It starts from the basics and builds you up to confident Scrum and safe execution. We strengthen your core understanding of the Agile and Scrum framework implementation and enrich it with practical insights to avoid common failure patterns. You will learn Kanban essentials and safe essentials and get a guided walkthrough of how to conduct effective PI planning and program increment management. You work through a case study-driven approach with real Jira and Azure DevOps demonstration, and you will learn how to include automation assistance in Agile. You will receive templates you can take back and use directly in your work and earn a verifiable Agilivance Scrum Master certificate on completion. Join us at Agilivance and visit us https://agilivance.com, mail us, and you can also check our YouTube videos on our YouTube channel at Agilivance. You can choose our course offerings to boost up your Agile, Scrum, and safe learning journey.